Hello there, Valiant fans, and welcome. This is Tyson Agler, and join me is head men's and women's track and field coach Eric Schaffer. Coach, the Valiants have already had a few meets under their belts. How do they look so far this year?
They look great. They put in a lot of good work during the preseason, the off season. They look absolutely fantastic in the first few meets. Usually it's kind of tough the first few meets, just kind of getting used to competing, go against bigger schools, Division I, Division II schools. But overall, they responded well to the training. They competed hard and some good times already, a few MAC qualifiers. So we're looking forward to the next few meets.
You have 12 new athletes on this year's team. How have they been transitioning to track and field at the collegiate level?
They've been doing great. The upperclassmen and the veterans have set a good example. And so even before the season started, they kind of knew what to expect coming in. So like I said, they put in a lot of hard work. And they've just kind of followed the tradition of that if you put in hard work and you compete hard and you do your homework, do the little things in between, you could be a fantastic athlete here. You could do big things. So I'm real excited for the newcomers. We have 12 returners, 12 newcomers, so it's a perfect mix of not too many veterans or not too many newcomers. We get to have a nice balance of both, so we're real excited.
You mentioned that nice balanced mix between 12 new athletes along with 12 returners. What are some other benefits to having those returners back to teach those new athletes the ways of collegiate track?
Yeah, the returners that are back, they have a lot of experience, not just at the Division III level, but competing the bigger meets with the Division I, Division II schools. They know what to expect, and so they've done a tremendous job, like I said, setting that tone and definitely setting that tradition of what to expect at practice, at meets, and just the experience of going to championship races and competing against the best of the best, and not just the MAC conference, but in the tri-state area. They've responded incredibly well. So, like I said, we're real excited to get the season going and get ready for championship season.
You've had a year of head coaching under your belt. What did you learn in your first year that you're hoping you can carry over to year number 2?
First thing I noticed was just how deep Division III is. A lot of people see Division III as kind of the lower tier, or athletics isn't that big, or we can't be that competitive. But in my experience, my first year going against these other Division I, Division II schools, Division III can compete with the best. And especially in our conference, we're one of the more competitive Division III conferences, not just on the East Coast, but in the nation. And so my first year was definitely an eye-opener in terms of how competitive Division III is and just how strong these programs have grown, and just the amount of programs, not just in other sports, but in track and field, the amount of talent that's in the Northeast region and just in the MAC conference. So it was definitely an eye-opener coming from Division I, where I came from, and then I worked with pros before I came here. So I was very surprised, and it was definitely an eye-opener. It's been a really enjoyable experience so far.
You graduated a few seniors from last year's team, including national qualifiers Shannon Roberts, where Shannon, along with her fellow classmates, are able to score points for your team on a consistent basis. How do you look to replace not only the point scorers from last year's team, but more importantly, leaders on the track?
Yeah, very hard to replace a Shannon Roberts, not just because of her ability just to score in 1 or 2 events, but sometimes 3 with that relay. But one person isn't the difference maker. What the difference maker is having 2 or 3 people score, or 4 or 5 more people score. One person winning events is always fantastic, but if you can get 3 or 4 people to score in events and contributing into relays or coming back for a second event, that's where the difference is made up. And people like Allie Johnson could definitely step into those shoes, so to speak, within the next year or 2. So I feel going forward, we're going to lose seniors, we're going to lose some star athletes, but as long as we just keep doing what we're doing and working hard, and people will step up, and people like Allie Johnson can really, can maybe fill in those shoes, and I think that's really how you make up the difference for losing someone like Shannon. But like I said, these athletes they're hungry, they're looking to do big things, not just score points and PR, but really just get to the next level, championship level, make it to MACs, qualify for the finals, make it the ECACs, and then the ultimate goal, obviously, is to try to represent the school at the national level.
And finally, Coach, like we said, a nice mix of newcomers and returners on this year's team. What's going to be the expectation for the Valiants?
Yeah, coming in this year, after losing a couple seniors, we only have 2 seniors this year for men and women. So we're still a fairly young team, but it doesn't mean we still can't make some noise at the MAC championship. So like I said, we're trying to finish in the top 50% of those teams, finish around 6th or 7th. The goal ultimately, obviously, is to win MAC championships. We're maybe a year or 2 away from that. But I think, going forward, depending on how we do this season and what we can do with recruits coming in with new recruits next season, the goal is to get on the podium at some point, finish in the top 3 within the next year or two, whether it's in cross country, indoor and outdoor. So this season is really just growing on the success we had last year. And like we finished right around 6th or 7th last year. And I think we can, improve on that. And so that's really the expectation, not so much is where we are in the final standings in terms of points, because points are scored in so many different areas, but how well they compete in each event, where they can score points, how they score points. The competition level varies between, individuals and events and in relays. So we're looking just really to not so much score to the point where we're trying to, finish on the top on the podium every event, but more so just be competitive, because the MAC conference is just so competitive. And my second year in the program here, we're still building the foundations and the fundamentals of just learning how to, there's 47 events that could be scored in track and field. So we're trying to spread our investments, where they need to be, not just to pool everything in one area. So we're looking to just, try to just figure out what's the best fit for us in this conference. Every team has their strength, whether it's distance or sprints or hurdles or throwing or field. And we're still trying to, work out those kinks right now. And so this year will definitely, be that, be the season where we're going to determine, what kind of program we are, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, and what we need to work on. So for the Valiants, I think, realistically top 50% is a, pretty good expectation.
Thanks, Coach, and good luck this season.
Thank you very much.
Run 'em like run 'em, run 'em.